All right, it's the winter of 1942, and these men know that they're doomed.
Mm-hmm.
And they have an opportunity to write a last letter home.
Mm-hmm.
Read to us, George, from some of those letters.
One final note, if I might. The poignancy of these letters is not only that the men know that these letters are going to be their last. Will leave Stalingrad on the very last German military plane to leave the pocket. But the poignancy is heightened by the fact that these letters were never, ever delivered to their loved ones back home. The Germans, being methodical, decided to make a study of these letters, 7 bags of mail. And their propaganda divisions went through, deleted the names of all the men, and studied them for attitudes toward command, their morale. Were they negative toward their commanders? Were they approving? All that kind of thing. That's the terrible tragedy. These letters, which we are going to hear, were never heard by the loved ones to whom they were addressed. If there is a God, you wrote me in your last letter, then he will bring you back to me soon and healthy. You went on, a human being like you who loves animals and flowers and does no harm to anyone, who loves and adores his wife and child, will always have God's protection. I thank you for these words, and I always carry your letter with me. But, dearest, if your words are weighed now, and you make the existence of God dependent upon them, you will have to make a difficult and great decision. I am a religious man. You always were a believer, but this will have to change now if we accept the consequences of the conviction which we held up to now, because something has happened which has overthrown everything in which we believed. I am searching for words to tell you, or have you guessed already? This will be my last letter for a long time, perhaps forever. It will be taken along by a friend who has to go to the airfield, because it is said that tomorrow the last plane will fly out of the pocket. The situation has become untenable. The Russians are within 3 kilometers of our last airfield, and once this is lost, not a mouse will get out, not to mention me. Of course, hundreds of thousands of others won't get out either, but it is small comfort to have shared your destruction with others. If there is a God, over there on the other side, many ask the same question, perhaps millions in England and in France. I don't believe any longer that God can be good, for then he would not permit such great injustice. I don't believe in it anymore, for he would have enlightened the minds of those people who began this war and always talked of peace and the Almighty in 3 languages. I do not believe in God anymore because he betrayed us. I don't believe anymore. And you must see how you can come to terms with your faith.
That's the voice of George Vukelich reading from Last Letters from Stalingrad. George and I are sitting here, each of us with his own yellowed and well-worn copy of that book, which was originally published in 1962, I think. And I believe it is still in print and available as a paperback. My edition was published by the New American Library as a signet book a long time ago. It must be a long time ago because the price on the cover I'm holding is 60 cents. You don't get paperbacks for that anymore. But I think if you look, you can still find the book Last Letters from Stalingrad. George, read another letter.
All right. This one is the one marked 38. There are 39 letters in the English edition, all translated from the German, from that pool of 7 bags of mail. And it is said by the translators that these letters, while only 39 in number, are very representative of the ones that were omitted. I wanted to write you a long letter, but my thoughts constantly disintegrate like houses which collapse under shell fire. I still have 10 hours, then this letter has to be turned in. 10 hours is a long time for people who are waiting, but short for those in love. I am not nervous at all. Actually, it is here in the East that I have for the first time become really healthy. I don't have colds and sniffles anymore. That is the only good thing the war has done me. No, the war gave me something else, the realization that I love you. It is strange that people value things only when they are about to lose them. The vast distance is spanned by the bridge from heart to heart. By that bridge, I wrote you about our daily round and the world in which we live here. I meant to tell you the truth when I returned, and then we would never have talked about the war again. Now you will learn the truth beforehand, the last truth. Now I can write no more. As long as there are shores, there will always be bridges. We should have the courage to walk on them. One bridge leads to you, the other to eternity. At the very end, they are the same for me. Tomorrow, I shall set foot on the last bridge. That is the literary way of saying death, but as you know, I always like to express things figuratively because I took pleasure in words and sounds. Give me your hand so that crossing it won't be so hard.
Again, that was George Vukelich reading one of the last letters from Stalingrad. Somebody said, I think Mark Twain, that there's something about being about to be hanged that wonderfully concentrates the mind. There's something about knowing that one is about to die in a foreign land under the most miserable circumstances that seems to give people an opportunity to see clearly and express themselves vividly. At least it did that for these German soldiers at Stalingrad writing their last letters. George, you have done this so often. You have read these so many times that I'm sure you have some favorites among these, but also a sense of what they convey. Go ahead and give us a couple of the letters that you like the best.
Well, I like this one because it's unusual in that the writer is not a combat soldier, as are most of the others. The writer of this one is a German chaplain, a Catholic priest. And I think his presence there is sort of shocking to a lot of people who regard the German army as Nazis, godless, Bosch, all the rest of it. Writing to his parents.